The comforting aroma of a warm bowl of oatmeal has long been synonymous with a healthy start to the day. It conjures images of nourishment, sustained energy, and a gentle embrace for our digestive system. And indeed, oatmeal in its purest form, whole, unadulterated oats, is a nutritional powerhouse celebrated for its soluble fiber, its ability to help manage cholesterol, and its role in stabilizing blood sugar. But what if this trusted breakfast staple, a choice many of us make with the best intentions, particularly as we navigate the physiological shifts of life beyond 60, could be quietly undermining our well-being? Could the very additions we believe enhance its flavor or nutritional profile be transforming this virtuous meal into a hidden adversary? It's a startling proposition, especially for those who have diligently sought healthier habits as the years advance. The truth, however, is that once we begin to customize our oatmeal with popular toppings and mix-ins, many deceptively marketed as healthy, that wholesome bowl can insidiously morph into a source of excessive sugar, a trigger for metabolic stress, or even a long-term threat to our vital organs. After the age of 60, our bodies undergo a series of subtle yet significant changes. Our metabolism may slow, our insulin response can become less efficient, and our liver and kidneys, the diligent filters of our internal system, might find themselves working harder to process substances they once handled with greater ease. What we choose to add to our daily oatmeal can either synergistically support our body's evolving needs, or conversely, quietly overwhelm its delicate balance. The most concerning aspect? Many are entirely unaware of which seemingly innocent ingredients are responsible for this potential harm. This exploration delves into 7 common additions to oatmeal, frequently chosen by mature adults, and uncovers why each could be exacting a higher toll on health than commonly perceived. Some of these culprits might surprise you. Others may be ingredients you've trusted and incorporated into your diet for years. By journeying through this analysis, you will gain the clarity to discern what to avoid and, more importantly, how to ensure your morning oatmeal remains the bastion of health you intend it to be. Stay with us, because understanding and eliminating even 1 or 2 of these dietary saboteurs could translate into noticeably improved energy levels, more stable blood sugar, and enhanced protection for your liver, kidneys, and heart. Your breakfast, the cornerstone of your day, should never be a source of contention for your body, especially when it's a ritual you embrace daily. Number 1, the deceptive sweetness of brown sugar, an unseen stress on your insulin response. Brown sugar, with its rustic hue and slightly richer flavor, often masquerades as a healthier alternative to its refined white counterpart. Many perceive it as more natural, perhaps less processed, and therefore a more benign choice for sweetening their morning oatmeal. However, for your body, especially after the age of 60, the metabolic reality is starkly similar. Both are processed sugars that can trigger a cascade of undesirable physiological responses. When you generously scoop brown sugar into your oatmeal, you're not merely enhancing its taste, you're initiating a rapid surge in your blood sugar levels. This spike is often followed by an equally precipitous crash, leaving you feeling unexpectedly fatigued, mentally foggy, and paradoxically, even hungrier just an hour or 2 later. This roller coaster of blood sugar is more than just a temporary inconvenience. Over time, these repeated spikes and crashes place considerable strain on your body's insulin response. Insulin, the hormone produced by the pancreas, is crucial for ushering glucose from your bloodstream into your cells for energy. As we age, several factors can compromise this intricate system. The pancreas may gradually produce less insulin, and cells can become more resistant to the insulin that is available, a condition known as insulin resistance. Introducing a fast-absorbing sugar like brown sugar into this already sensitive environment is akin to pouring gasoline on a smoldering fire. Your blood sugar catapults, your pancreas works overtime, and the subsequent crash leaves your system dysregulated. This chronic pattern of glycemic volatility doesn't just contribute to an increased risk of type 2 diabetes. Even in individuals who otherwise believe they are maintaining a healthy diet, it also promotes the accumulation of visceral fat, belly fat, fuels systemic inflammation, a known precursor to numerous chronic disease, and can inflict damage on the delicate lining of your blood vessels, impacting cardiovascular health. The story of Janet, a vibrant 67-year-old, vividly illustrates this point. She was a firm believer in her healthy breakfast: oatmeal, a little brown sugar, and skim milk. Yet she couldn't understand why, like clockwork, she would be overcome by an irresistible urge for a nap by 10:30 a.m. It was only after a thorough dietary review with her doctor that the seemingly innocuous spoonful of brown sugar was identified as the likely culprit. Within a week of eliminating it, her morning energy stabilized, much to her surprise. "I didn't think it was the sugar," she confessed. "It was just a spoonful. But it was enough to set everything off." Furthermore, brown sugar, like other concentrated sweeteners, rarely travels alone. It often brings with it an unwelcome companion, a craving for more sweet foods later in the day. This is because sugar consumption triggers the release of dopamine, like a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward in the brain. As the initial dopamine effect wanes, a subtle dip occurs, prompting your brain to seek another hit to restore that pleasurable sensation. This isn't a matter of weak willpower, it's a fundamental biochemical response. If you desire a touch of sweetness in your morning oatmeal, there are far more body-friendly alternatives. Consider a few slices of fresh banana, a sprinkle of Ceylon cinnamon, known for its potential blood sugar regulating properties, or a dash of pure vanilla extract. These options offer gentle, natural flavor profiles without sending your blood sugar on a disruptive journey. The goal isn't to fear sweetness entirely, but to consciously choose sources that burn slowly and provide sustained energy, rather than those that ignite a rapid, damaging blaze. When you begin your day with stable blood sugar, every subsequent aspect of your well-being benefits: your mood, your cognitive function, your metabolism, and even your joint health. By simply omitting that habitual scoop of brown sugar, you're providing your body with a foundational advantage that can positively influence the entire course of your day. Understanding this first hidden danger, brown sugar's impact on your insulin response, is crucial. If you've found this explanation eye-opening and are considering how it applies to your breakfast, let us know by commenting with the number 1 below. Your engagement helps us understand what resonates most with you. Number 2, artificial sweeteners. The illusion of a smart choice with hidden metabolic costs. Artificial sweeteners, often presented in those familiar little pink, yellow, or blue packets, or as ingredients in sugar-free syrups and products, might seem like the ideal solution, particularly for seniors diligently monitoring their blood sugar or calorie intake. They promise sweetness without the sugar, a seemingly guilt-free indulgence. However, the truth about these low-calorie or zero-calorie alternatives is far more intricate and potentially troubling than their marketing suggests. While they might save you a few grams of sugar in the immediate moment, their long-term use can quietly disrupt your metabolism, negatively impact your gut health, and even place an unexpected burden on your liver function. Herein lies the crux of the problem. Your body has an innate expectation that sweetness will be accompanied by calories and a subsequent energy supply. When it encounters intense sweetness without these caloric or energetic signals, as is the case with sweeteners like sucralose, aspartame, saccharin, or acesulfame potassium, a state of confusion can arise. This sensory mismatch can, paradoxically, alter your insulin response over time. Some research suggests that certain artificial sweeteners may still trigger an insulin release, even without a rise in blood glucose, potentially contributing to insulin resistance down the line. Furthermore, they can intensify cravings for sweet foods later in the day, as the brain, not fully satisfied by the calorie-free sweetness, continues to seek genuine energy sources. This can subtly sabotage weight management efforts and even slow down your overall metabolism. In older adults whose hormonal balance and metabolic rate are already naturally shifting, this disruption can make it notably harder to lose weight, more challenging to maintain stable blood sugar, and easier to accumulate stubborn belly fat, even when you believe you're making health-conscious choices. Beyond the metabolic confusion, there's the significant issue of the liver's role. Many artificial sweeteners are not readily absorbed or utilized by the body for energy. Instead, they require processing and detoxification by the liver. While they may not directly raise blood sugar levels in the same way as sucrose, they still necessitate filtration. For a liver that may already be contending with a lifetime of processing medications, managing age-related decreases in efficiency, or dealing with other dietary toxins, the daily addition of these synthetic compounds can contribute to an unnecessary and cumulative stress. The potential result is a slower, more sluggish liver, which can manifest in symptoms like persistent fatigue, poor digestion, skin issues, and in some cases, elevated liver enzymes, often without overt symptoms until the stress has become significant. Consider Charles, a 74-year-old gentleman who, for years, had conscientiously mixed sugar-free syrup and various artificial sweeteners into his daily oatmeal. He enjoyed the taste and was convinced he was making a diabetic-friendly choice. However, when his routine blood work revealed a slight elevation in his liver panel, his doctor began to investigate his dietary habits more closely. On the doctor's advice, Charles eliminated all artificial additives from his diet. Within a few weeks, he reported improved digestion, and subsequent lab tests showed his liver markers returning to a healthier range. "I genuinely thought I was helping myself," Charles reflected. "Turns out I was just giving my liver one more job to do, one it didn't need." Instead of relying on these synthetic substitutes, try embracing natural flavor enhancers. Spices like cinnamon, nutmeg, cardamom, or a splash of pure almond or vanilla extract can add delightful complexity to your oatmeal. Even a small amount of whole, fresh fruit, such as berries or a few apple slices, can satisfy a desire for sweetness, while concurrently offering valuable vitamins, fiber, and antioxidants, beneficial compounds that no laboratory-created powder can replicate. Your body has served you faithfully for decades. It deserves genuine, wholesome nourishment, not confusing artificial signals. When you provide your body with clean, recognizable fuel, it doesn't just perform more optimally. It feels inherently better, more balanced, and more vibrant. If you're finding these insights into artificial sweeteners valuable and perhaps rethinking their place in your pantry, please comment with the number 2 below to let us know you're engaged with this important topic. And if you haven't already, we warmly invite you to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. Your support is invaluable and enables us to continue creating informative content designed to empower your health journey. Now, let's delve into another common oatmeal addition that warrants a closer look. 3. Dried fruits, nature's candy that can overwhelm your liver. Dried fruits often wear a halo of health. They are, after all, derived from real fruit, and many people perceive them as an innocent, even wholesome way to add sweetness, fiber, and nutrients to their oatmeal. A handful of raisins, some chopped dried apricots, or a sprinkle of dried cranberries can seem like a sensible choice. However, the process of drying fruit fundamentally alters its composition, and this transformation can have significant implications for your health, especially for older adults. When fruit is dried, the water content is drastically reduced, leading to an intense concentration of its natural sugars and calories. This means that a seemingly small portion of dried fruit can deliver a surprisingly potent sugar load, often comparable to that found in a candy bar, without you even realizing it. This high concentration of sugar becomes particularly problematic because the primary sugar in most fruits is fructose. Unlike glucose, which can be readily utilized by most cells in your body, including your muscles and brain, for energy, fructose is metabolized almost exclusively by the liver. When you consume a large amount of fructose in a concentrated form, such as from dried fruits, it places a direct and significant burden on your liver. The liver works to convert this fructose. If overwhelmed, it can transform excess fructose into triglycerides, a type of fat. This process can contribute to the development or exacerbation of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NFLD, a condition that is becoming alarmingly common in individuals over 60, even among those who consume little to no alcohol. A liver encumbered by excess fat storage is less efficient at performing its myriad other vital functions, from detoxification to producing essential proteins. Let's take a closer look at the sugar content. Just a few tablespoons of commercially prepared dried cranberries, for instance, can contain upwards of 20 grams of sugar. Often, these dried fruits are further processed with added sugars or syrups during manufacturing to enhance their sweetness, improve their texture, or extend their shelf life. Even unsweetened dried fruits like dates or raisins, while free from added refined sugars, still deliver a substantial hit of naturally occurring concentrated sugar in a very compact package. You might believe you're adding a healthy, fiber-rich topping, but your liver could be silently struggling to cope with the fructose deluge with every spoonful. Gerald, a 69-year-old who was keen on maintaining his health, diligently added a handful of dried apricots to his oatmeal every morning. He reasoned it was a smart strategy to boost his fiber intake. However, he consistently experienced uncomfortable bloating after breakfast, and was puzzled by a gradual upward creep in his blood pressure readings. It wasn't until he discussed his diet in detail with his nutritionist that the dried fruit came under scrutiny. Upon removing the dried apricots and switching to a modest serving of fresh blueberries in his oatmeal, Gerald's bloating significantly eased, and his doctor noted a favorable change in his subsequent blood pressure checks. I had no idea those little pieces of fruit could pack such a punch and cause that much trouble, he admitted. If you genuinely enjoy the taste and texture of fruit in your oatmeal, the unequivocal recommendation is to opt for fresh or frozen varieties. A few slices of a crisp apple, a handful of antioxidant-rich berries like blueberries, raspberries, or strawberries, or half a small banana offer natural sweetness along with crucial water content, fiber, and a spectrum of vitamins and minerals. These components help to slow down the absorption of sugar, providing a gentler impact on your blood sugar levels and easing the metabolic load on your liver. You still get the delightful flavor and nutritional benefits of fruit, but in a form that your body, particularly in your 60s, 70s, and beyond, can manage more effectively. It's not about renouncing sweetness entirely. It's about choosing the forms of sweetness that work in harmony with your body's physiology, not against it. Your liver has been a steadfast workhorse throughout your life. It's now time to make choices that support its continued health and efficiency. Have you perhaps been relying on dried fruits in your oatmeal, thinking they were an unequivocally healthy choice? Learning about the concentrated sugar and its impact on the liver can be quite revealing. If this discussion on dried fruits has provided you with new food for thought, please share your reaction by commenting with the number 3 below. We appreciate hearing how this information is being received. 4. Flavored oatmeal packets, the convenience trap, laden with hidden saboteurs. For many individuals, especially those living alone, managing busy schedules, or simply seeking to minimize meal preparation time, those small, pre-flavored oatmeal packets appear to be a wonderfully quick and harmless solution. Just tear open the packet, pour the contents into a bowl, add hot water or milk, and stir. They promise a trifecta of health, convenience, and comforting flavor. Apple cinnamon, maple and brown sugar, peaches, and cream, all neatly contained in a single serving. However, beneath this veneer of simplicity and wholesome appeal often lurks a cocktail of additives, excessive sodium, and synthetic flavorings that can quietly chip away at your health, a concern that becomes particularly pertinent after the age of 60. Let's begin by examining the sodium content. It might surprise you to learn that many flavored oatmeal packets contain a significant amount of sodium, often ranging from 200 to 300 milligrams per serving, and sometimes even more, especially if you prepare it with milk or add a pat of salted butter. While this might not seem like an alarming quantity in isolation, it's crucial to consider it within the context of your total daily sodium intake. When you factor in the sodium present in bread, canned soups, processed snacks, and other convenience foods consumed throughout the day, that small amount in your morning oatmeal can contribute to an overall sodium load that quickly exceeds recommended guidelines. For seniors who may already be managing conditions like high blood pressure, heart concerns, or declining kidney function, this seemingly modest sodium contribution can silently push their system beyond a safe and healthy threshold, exacerbating existing issues. Then there's the matter of the flavor itself. The delightful maple, rich apple cinnamon, or creamy peach taste in most flavored oatmeals rarely originates from an abundance of real whole food ingredients. Instead, these flavor profiles are typically engineered using a combination of artificial flavorings, various sweeteners, including high fructose corn syrup or artificial ones, chemical stabilizers, and artificial colorants designed to mimic the appearance and taste of natural food. These synthetic chemicals offer no nutritional value to your body. In fact, they place an additional burden on your liver and kidneys, which are tasked with filtering and eliminating these foreign compounds. For an aging system that might already be diligently processing years of accumulated medications, coping with chronic low-grade inflammation, or managing other metabolic challenges, this added daily chemical load matters more than ever. It's an unnecessary stress that can divert your body's resources from essential repair and maintenance functions. Carol, a 73-year-old woman, shared her experience of relying on flavored oatmeal packets for years, sometimes consuming them twice a day. They were just so easy, she explained, and I always thought they were the healthy choice because it's oatmeal, right? However, she consistently felt puffy and bloated after her meals and had noticed an increasing tendency for her hands and ankles to swell, particularly in the mornings. After a conversation with her daughter, who was learning about nutrition, Carol decided to switch to plain, old-fashioned rolled oats, to which she added her own fresh apple slices and a sprinkle of cinnamon. Within a couple of weeks, the persistent bloating significantly reduced, and her morning blood pressure readings showed a noticeable improvement. I never imagined that a little packet could be responsible for all that discomfort, she marveled. The truth is, many of the health claims emblazoned on these convenient packets, such as good source of whole grains or low fat, are often clever marketing tactics that highlight one positive attribute while conveniently omitting the less desirable aspects of the ingredient list. They don't typically advertise the presence of preservatives, chemical thickeners, or the potential impact of a long list of often unpronounceable added ingredients. If your goal is to derive genuine health benefits from your oatmeal, the most reliable path is to start with plain, rolled, or steel-cut oats. Then take a few extra moments to customize it with your own additions: fresh or frozen fruit, a sprinkle of nuts or seeds, a dash of natural spices. This simple shift not only gives you complete control over what goes into your body, but also ensures that your breakfast is truly nourishing, rather than a convenient compromise. Your body will undoubtedly thank you for this mindful upgrade every single time. It's easy to fall for the convenience of flavored oatmeal packets, but understanding what might be lurking within them is empowering. If this section has made you reconsider your use of these prepackaged options, or if you have a favorite way to flavor plain oats, share your thoughts by commenting with the number 4 below. And if you're appreciating this deep dive into making your oatmeal healthier, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to our channel, ensuring you hit the notification bell. Your support fuels our mission to bring you valuable content. Number 5. Non-dairy creamers. The misleading promise of creaminess with cardiovascular caveats. Non-dairy creamers, whether in powdered or liquid form, often seem like a harmless, even sensible addition to make your oatmeal creamier and more palatable, especially if you're lactose intolerant, looking to reduce dairy consumption, or simply enjoy a richer texture. They are marketed as convenient, cholesterol-free alternatives to milk or cream. However, the reality is that many of these products are formulated with ingredients that can quietly pose risks to your heart health, place undue stress on your liver, and negatively influence your metabolism. Concerns that become particularly acute as you get older and your cardiovascular system requires more mindful care. A primary concern with most powdered and many liquid non-dairy creamers lies in their fat composition. They are frequently made with hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oils, which are significant sources of trans fats. Trans fats are notorious for their detrimental effects on cholesterol levels. They tend to raise LDL, low-density lipoprotein cholesterol, often referred to as the bad cholesterol, while simultaneously lowering HDL, high-density lipoprotein cholesterol, the good cholesterol that helps protect your arteries. This dual action creates a dangerous combination for anyone, but it is particularly perilous for seniors who are already at an increased risk for cardiovascular disease or are actively managing existing heart conditions. It's important to be aware that even products labeled as trans fat-free can legally contain small amounts of trans fats, typically less than 0.5 grams per serving if the designated serving size is small enough. However, if you use these creamers regularly or in larger quantities than the tiny official serving, these small amounts can accumulate and contribute to arterial plaque buildup and inflammation over time. Beyond the problematic fats, non-dairy creamers often contain an array of thickeners, emulsifiers, artificial flavors, and corn syrup solids. These compounds are not included for their nutritional value. Rather, their purpose is to mimic the desirable creamy texture and rich flavor of real dairy milk or cream without actually providing any of the natural nutrients found in whole foods. Ingredients like carrageenan, a common thickener that some studies link to inflammation and gut issues in sensitive individuals, dipotassium phosphate, a stabilizer, and various artificial flavorings force your liver and kidneys to work harder to process and filter them out. Over time, especially with daily or frequent consumption, this can contribute to a state of chronic low-grade inflammation throughout the body, Chronic inflammation is now widely recognized as a key underlying driver of many age-related conditions, including heart disease, arthritis, joint pain, and even cognitive decline. Frank, a 75-year-old widower, had developed a habit of stirring powdered, non-dairy creamer into almost everything he consumed hot: his coffee, his tea, his oatmeal, and even his soups. He found it convenient to buy one product for multiple uses and enjoyed the taste it imparted. However, over several months, he began experiencing persistent digestive issues, including bloating and discomfort, and his routine cholesterol checks started showing higher numbers. His doctor, after a careful review of his diet, eventually pinpointed the creamer as a potential contributor and asked him to eliminate it. Within 2 months of stopping the creamer and opting for plain milk or unsweetened almond milk, Frank reported that his digestive symptoms had significantly improved, and his follow-up lab work showed a favorable shift in his cholesterol profile. "I just thought it was harmless powder," Frank said. "I didn't realize it could be messing up so many other things inside me." The core issue is that non-dairy creamers are often successfully marketed as light, convenient, and cholesterol-free, leading consumers to believe they are making a healthier choice. However, the potential damage they inflict is often subtle, accumulating quietly over time and frequently ignored or attributed to other factors until more significant symptoms begin to manifest. If you desire a creamy texture in your oatmeal, there are far cleaner and more nourishing options available. Try a splash of unsweetened almond milk, oat milk, soy milk, choose organic if possible, or even a small amount of organic dairy milk or light cream if you tolerate dairy well. A spoonful of plain, unsweetened yogurt, dairy or non-dairy, can also impart a pleasant creaminess along with beneficial probiotics. These alternatives offer a cleaner texture, often with added real nutrients, without burdening your body with synthetic junk and unhealthy fats. What you choose to mix into your oatmeal truly matters, especially when your body has spent decades faithfully taking care of you. Now is the perfect time to return that favor by making conscious, cleaner choices that support its long-term health. Learning about the hidden ingredients in non-dairy creamers can be quite an eye-opener, especially if you've been using them regularly. If this information has been helpful to you, or if you have a favorite healthy way to make your oatmeal creamy, we'd love to hear about it. Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. Your experiences and tips can be incredibly valuable to our community. 6. Store-bought granola, the healthy topping. That's often a sugar and fat trap. Granola often basks in a radiant health halo. The very name evokes images of nature, wholesome grains, and heart-friendly goodness. It sounds like the perfect, crunchy, satisfying addition to a creamy bowl of oatmeal. However, what many well-intentioned consumers don't realize is that the vast majority of commercially available store-bought granola is heavily laden with added sugars, unhealthy oils, and sometimes even preservatives, transforming your otherwise virtuous breakfast into a potential metabolic landmine rather than the nourishing meal you intended. One of the most significant problems with store-bought granola lies in its manufacturing process. To achieve that desirable golden brown crunch, clusters, and extended shelf stability, manufacturers typically bake oats and other ingredients, like nuts and dried fruits, in significant quantities of sugar syrups and oils. These oils are often refined vegetable oils, such as canola oil, soybean oil, sunflower oil, or palm oil. While some of these oils in their pure, unrefined state might offer some benefits, the versions used in mass-produced granola are often highly processed and can contribute to inflammation when consumed regularly, especially if they are heated repeatedly or are partially hydrogenated, a source of trans fats, even if not explicitly listed in large amounts. This underlying inflammation, when chronic, can contribute to a host of health issues, including stiff and painful joints, persistent fatigue, and an increased risk of cardiovascular problems, all concerns that become more prevalent with age. Even granola marketed as low sugar or naturally sweetened often contains substantial amounts of sweeteners, albeit under different guises. Ingredients like honey, maple syrup, brown rice syrup, agave nectar, molasses, or evaporated cane juice might sound more natural and wholesome than refined white sugar or high fructose corn syrup, but to your body, particularly your pancreas and liver, their metabolic effect is largely the same: a rapid increase in blood sugar, a surge in insulin demand, and the potential for subsequent energy crashes and cravings for more sugary or starchy foods. This is especially pertinent for seniors who may already be managing prediabetes, experiencing unexplained energy dips throughout the day, or struggling with excess belly fat, all of which are exacerbated by frequent and significant sugar hits. There's also the pervasive issue of portion distortion. If you look closely at the nutrition label on a typical bag of granola, you'll often find that the recommended serving size is surprisingly small, usually just a quarter or a third of a cup, around 30 to 40 grams. However, most people tend to pour a much more generous amount onto their oatmeal or into their cereal bowl, often 2 or 3 times the stated serving, without realizing they are consequently consuming hundreds of hidden calories, a hefty dose of carbohydrates, many from sugar, and a significant amount of added fats that were never part of their conscious breakfast plan. Ellen, a 71-year-old who was meticulous about her diet, always added a generous sprinkle of her favorite store-bought granola to her morning oatmeal for that satisfying crunch. She believed it was a healthy addition. However, she was also struggling with borderline high blood sugar readings and perplexing afternoon energy slumps. During a consultation with a dietitian, she was asked to measure out her typical granola portion. To her astonishment, she realized she was regularly adding an amount that contained more sugar and fat than an entire chocolate chip cookie. She decided to experiment by swapping her daily granola for a small handful of chopped raw walnuts and a few slivered almonds. Within a few weeks, her afternoon slumps noticeably diminished, and her next blood sugar check showed a favorable improvement. "I was just focusing on the whole grain aspect," she said, "and completely missed how much sugar and oil was packed in there." If you genuinely crave that delightful crunch in your oatmeal, there are far healthier and more nutrient-dense alternatives. Consider adding a tablespoon of plain toasted seeds like pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, or chia seeds. Unsweetened coconut flakes can provide a lovely texture and flavor. Raw nuts such as almonds, pecans, walnuts, or pistachios offer healthy fats, fiber, protein, and essential micronutrients without the accompanying burden of added syrups, refined oils, and unnecessary additives. You could even consider making your own granola at home, where you have complete control over the type and amount of sweeteners and fats used. Remember, your morning oatmeal is intended to be a source of steady, calming energy to start your day, not a cleverly disguised trap filled with hidden sugars and unhealthy fats. By learning to scrutinize ingredient lists and understand what truly constitutes a healthy topping, you are empowering yourself to give your body the clarity, support, and genuine nourishment it so richly deserves, one thoughtful bite at a time. That was our 6th point, focusing on the often misleading nature of store-bought granola. If you've had an aha moment realizing how much hidden sugar or fat might be in your favorite granola, or if you have a great recipe for homemade healthy granola, please comment with the number 6 below and share your insights. We're always eager to learn from our community. 7. Protein powders. When more isn't necessarily better for your aging system. Many older adults have been rightly advised that incorporating an adequate amount of protein into their breakfast can be beneficial for maintaining energy levels, supporting muscle strength, and preventing age-related muscle loss, sarcopenia, and promoting a greater sense of fullness and satiety, which can help with weight management. This advice is sound, especially when that protein comes from clean, whole food sources. However, a growing trend involves stirring protein powders into morning oatmeal. And while this might seem like an efficient way to boost protein intake, it's crucial to understand that, especially for individuals over 60, and depending on the type and quality of the powder, this practice can introduce hidden ingredients and place an unnecessary strain on bodily systems that may not need it. One of the primary concerns with many commercial protein powders is what you don't readily see on the front of the label. To improve taste, texture, and mixability, these products often contain a host of additives, including artificial sweeteners like sucralose, acesulfame potassium, or aspartame, which we've already discussed, artificial flavors, thickening agents such as xanthan gum or carrageenan, preservatives, and sometimes even fillers or anti-caking agents. These are substances that your kidneys and liver are ultimately responsible for filtering and processing. If you're over 60, these vital organs have already been diligently working for decades, processing a lifetime's worth of exposure to various food additives, medications, and environmental toxins. Adding a daily scoop of highly processed powder, which may contain a cocktail of these synthetic compounds, can quietly and incrementally pile on additional stress where your body least needs it, potentially impairing the efficiency of these organs over the long term. There's also the nuanced issue of protein quantity and how the aging body processes it. While adequate protein is essential, the body doesn't process excessive protein as efficiently as it did in younger years, particularly if kidney function is already subtly declining, which is common with age even in the absence of diagnosed kidney disease. Protein that is not utilized for muscle repair, tissue building, or immediate energy needs is broken down, and its byproducts, like urea, must be filtered out of the blood by the kidneys and excreted in urine. For someone already dealing with even a mild reduction in kidney function, a consistently high protein load, especially from concentrated powder sources rather than whole foods, can slowly place additional strain on the kidneys, potentially worsening that decline over time. The symptoms of early to moderate kidney strain, such as fatigue, poor appetite, or fluid retention, are often nonspecific and can go unnoticed or be attributed to other aspects of aging until the condition has advanced. Dennis, a 78-year-old man, had started blending a scoop of a popular whey protein powder into his oatmeal every morning. He had read a fitness article suggesting it would help him maintain muscle mass as he aged. However, Dennis was also on medication for high blood pressure, a condition that can sometimes affect kidney health. Over time, his routine kidney function lab tests began to show a slight but persistent upward creep in creatinine levels, an indicator of reduced kidney efficiency. When his astute doctor delved into his dietary habits, the daily protein powder supplementation, particularly a brand that was later found to have some less than ideal fillers, was identified as a potential contributing factor to this unnecessary protein burden. Once Dennis discontinued the powder and focused on obtaining his protein from whole food sources like eggs, Greek yogurt, and lean meats, spaced throughout his day, his kidney markers stabilized. "I didn't realize I was overdoing it," he reflected. "I just thought more protein was always better, especially at my age." If you genuinely feel the need for a protein boost in your morning meal, it's generally preferable to reach for whole food-based options. A spoonful of plain Greek yogurt, which is naturally high in protein, a side of eggs prepared to your liking, a handful of nuts or seeds, or even incorporating cooked quinoa or lentils into a savory oatmeal dish can provide high-quality protein in a form that your body is evolutionarily designed to recognize and utilize. These whole foods deliver protein naturally balanced with other essential nutrients, fiber, and beneficial compounds, without the hidden synthetic load that can accompany many processed powders. At this stage of life, the focus shouldn't just be on indiscriminately adding more of any single nutrient. It's about thoughtfully adding what truly matters and consciously removing what might quietly cause harm or unnecessary strain. Your body still possesses a remarkable capacity to respond, heal, and thrive. It simply asks that we treat it with the clarity, respect, and gentle wisdom it has earned. When it comes to your daily bowl of oatmeal, this means choosing ingredients that work synergistically with your system, not against it. We've now covered the 7th common oatmeal addition that warrants careful consideration. Protein is vital, but the source and quantity matter immensely. If this discussion on protein powders has given you a new perspective, especially regarding how it applies to the aging body, please let us know by commenting with the number 7 below. Your feedback is so valuable as we strive to provide relevant and actionable information. Your morning bowl of oatmeal, a ritual cherished by many for its simplicity and perceived health benefits, holds the potential to be a true cornerstone of a vibrant day. Yet, as we've journeyed through this detailed exploration, it's become evident that what you choose to mix into that seemingly innocuous bowl can make all the difference, determining whether it serves as a source of sustained nourishment or an unwitting contributor to health challenges. Each of the 7 common additions we've discussed today, brown sugar, artificial sweeteners, dried fruits, flavored oatmeal packets, non-dairy creamers, store-bought granola, and certain protein powders, carries its own set of quiet risks and potential drawbacks, especially for those of us navigating our 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond, when our bodies respond with increased sensitivity to sugars, additives, and chemical-laden ingredients. What's most crucial to take away from this discussion isn't merely a list of foods to avoid, it's the deeper understanding of why these choices matter. When you comprehend how your aging body uniquely processes concentrated sugars, how it reacts to synthetic compounds, and how seemingly small daily decisions can ripple outward to affect your energy levels, your digestive comfort, your blood pressure, your organ health, and even your mood, you become empowered. You move from being a passive consumer to an active, informed guardian of your own well being. And the truly good news in all of this, you have the power to make positive changes, often with just a few mindful adjustments to your daily routine. The truth is, you don't need to make your oatmeal elaborate or complicated with an array of processed toppings to make it enjoyable or beneficial. You don't need to rely on pre-mixed packets, artificial powders, or sugary tricks to satisfy your palate. What your body truly craves and responds best to are real, whole ingredients that offer synergistic support, not metabolic strain. Ingredients that provide calm, sustained energy, not chaotic spikes and crashes. Think of the simple elegance of plain rolled or steel-cut oats, lovingly enhanced with a sprinkle of warming cinnamon, the natural sweetness of fresh berries or a sliced banana, the satisfying crunch of a few raw nuts or seeds, or the wholesome creaminess of clean, unsweetened milk, dairy or plant-based. These are choices that nourish deeply and align with your body's innate wisdom. When you consciously choose to start your day in a way that honors and respects your body's needs, the positive effects tend to flow through your entire day, enhancing not just your physical health, but also your mental clarity and overall sense of vitality. So, take a quiet moment to reflect. Which of these 7 common oatmeal additions have found their way into your breakfast bowl? And, more importantly, armed with this new understanding, which ones are you now ready to reconsider or lovingly let go of, paving the way for a truly healthier and more supportive start to your day? Thank you for joining us on this insightful journey today. We sincerely hope this detailed analysis has provided you with valuable knowledge and practical strategies. We would be thrilled to hear from you. Please take a moment to leave a comment below, sharing one key insight you learned today and how you might plan to incorporate this new understanding into your daily life. Your thoughts, experiences, and reflections are incredibly important to us and to the wider community. Reading your comments provides us with great motivation and encouragement to continue this work. If you found this article valuable and believe it could benefit others, please show your support by hitting the like button, sharing it with friends or family who might find it useful, and subscribing to our channel. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you won't miss out on future content designed to inform, inspire, and empower you on your path to optimal health and well-being. Thank you for your time and attention, and we eagerly look forward to connecting with you again in our next exploration.